Amazing thing about snakes is that they reproduce spontaneously.
It's rare though, and it's typically seen in certain species of reptiles, including some snakes, such as the boa constrictor and certain pit vipers.
Oh, Bubba. Whoa, take it easy. Don't away with the vipers.
I raised 3 children of my own.
I did a pretty good job until...
They are all unhappy.
Sure, you listen to that Janice. Be very careful, because she's a real snake in the grass.
My mother, though, she could lay out in the weeds for days, years, waiting to strike.
What do you want to do, Carmela? You want to move to Utah? Maybe start a rattlesnake ranch?
This is our chance to get out, Tony. We could start a whole new life.
Snakes are often associated with betrayal.
That's why somebody you don't trust, you call a snake. Listen, John, just want to say, I hope your feelings weren't hurt too bad and that it never got back to the missus. How can you trust a guy who can literally go themselves? If there's ever anything I can do, anything. Nobody knows what the future holds, my friend. You shouldn't hesitate.
Don't you think that expression will come from the Adam and Eve story? When the snake tempted Eve to bite the apple?
If we think about when Polly says this line, it's in the telltale Musadel, which is just after Tony meets Gloria. And in this episode, we have the two of them, Tony and Gloria, going to the zoo together. And they definitely checked out the snake exhibit. Gloria and Tony were like each other's forbidden fruit.
You know snakes can fuck themselves.
Snakes are often symbols of evil, temptation, and deceit. And they can also represent death, destruction, and poison. However, snakes can also have positive associations such as healing and rebirth.
I knew it. I knew there had to be something.
What? What is wrong with that? It's a Buddhist symbol.
In Buddhism, snakes can carry significant symbolic meanings, including protection and guardianship, quality of good and evil, representation of wisdom, a symbol of the underworld, transformation and renewal, and more. Now, with the Adam and Eve story, a snake tempts Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, causing her to introduce sin into the world.
Yeah, I guess.
And the daughter, like all females, ultimately somehow disappoints.
The tendency to blame Eve instead of Adam often stems from historical, cultural, and religious interpretations of the biblical story of Adam and Eve, because the story in Genesis describes Eve as being the one who first ate the forbidden fruit and then offered it to Adam.
Hey, snakes were fucking themselves long before Adam and Eve showed up to you.
According to some interpretations of the Bible, particularly the Genesis creation story, humans and animals were created on the same day, which would mean they were created at the same time. But according to Polly, not so much. And it kind of reminds me of Polly's comment to Christopher back in season 2, episode 9, when he says, "And 6,000 years is nothing in eternity terms. I can do that standing on my head. It's like a couple of days here." Some people believe that the world began just 6,000 years ago.
Tony made it right. It's a different one now.
God forbid, if this gets really bad, there could be a change. And as far as us talking like this...
You want me to pay a visit to Johnny Sack's guys? Just say the word. All due respect, T. Throwing you a praise or a beating was a provocation to you directly.
So, who else is a snake on The Sopranos?
She came on to me. Who knows what her problem is? Brought like her a fucking snake.
She said his effect was... Where is this? Constricted, she called it.
Now, when I hear constricted, I think of boa constrictor, if we're talking about snakes. A boa constrictor is known for its method of subduing prey by constriction. What does that remind me of?
One thing about us wise guys, the hustle never ends.
We had a scare last summer. Guy down the road was fishing, thought he caught a snakehead. Yuck. Thankfully, it was only a bowfin.
What's a snakehead?
Snakehead fish, particularly the northern snakehead, are considered dangerous due to their predatory nature, ability to survive out of water, and potential to disrupt native ecosystems when introduced to new areas. What does that make you think of?
What the fuck you doing?
Excuse me? I'm trimming a lawn. My nephew does the lawns in this neighborhood. I've been working this neighborhood for 26 years.
Uncle June's finally out of money. They think that maybe there's some scrolled around, but he can't remember. And they're gonna move him to a state facility. But Jesus, those places are snake pits.
These are snakes with fur.
Now, in contrast, this is the facility that Junior's been staying at. I don't think most people would call it a snake pit, but Polly may. And on that note,
Hey, you see this shit? Does it all the time, he says.
many snakes use camouflage to conceal themselves from both prey and their own predators, making it very challenging to detect them. But some people are more observant than others. Like Carmela, perhaps. Former mob boss in the Colombo family, Carmine the Snake Persico, earned his nickname the Snake because of his reputation for double-crossing his mob allies and his ruthlessness, particularly after he allegedly attempted to strangle and kill a friend and fellow hitman in the early 1960s. He was known for his willingness to betray even his closest associates, which earned him the nickname the Snake. Remember how Polly mentions he barely survived the Colombo Wars? Maybe this is who he learned from.
These are snakes with fur. The old Italians will tell you, you can't even put them around the baby. They suck the breath right out.
In Italy, there's a snake festival. It's called the Festival of the Snake Catchers, and it takes place in Abruzzo each May to honor the town's patron, Saint Domenico. No, not that Abruzzo, but close. He was a Benedictine monk who dedicated his life to protecting the locals against aggressive regional animals, so pilgrims still faithfully flock to him to honor him in hopes of receiving his miraculous powers of protection.
Fucking with the vipers here, asshole.
Ooh, really? What's that, your Girl Scout troop?
Viper behavior can vary depending on the particular species. They're typically ambush predators.
Whoa!
Vipers can also be very territorial. They may use scent marking or other behaviors to establish dominance over a particular area. Overall, in the world of The Sopranos, the snake isn't just a creature in the wild in the background. It's a reflection of the danger, betrayal, and primal instincts lurking just beneath the surface, but also the ability to change.
Maybe start a rattlesnake ranch.
We could start a whole new life.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. What are your thoughts on the snake symbolism or any other symbolic elements on The Sopranos? I'd love to hear from you.